Hello, guys. Lovely to have you in the studio.
Good day, John.
It's good to be here.
What are some of the memories of childhood, and especially where did music start?
I used to take the tranny into the when I had my shower. I used to sing along with Roy Orbison and the Beatles.
Yeah,
that was the start for me.
For me, the start was after tea. Or my brother, who was 3 years older than me, he'd do the washing up and I'd do the drying up, and we'd have the radio on, and we'd listen to the hit parade and listen to. It was back then. It was Ward Paliost and Riccapudi and a Fan Doogly would play all the Platters That Matter, and I got inspired by Itchycoo Park by the Small Faces, and the Monkeys, all that kind of stuff. What about you, mate?
Yeah, and kind of 60s really. Goody and I are both about the same age, and we grew up on the same sort of diet of pop stuff. Yeah, pretty much.
It was an exciting time because the music, and every year the music was different, wasn't it?
It's incredible talking about that, how the variety in the charts at that time. I had an operation when I was a little kid to fix it. I had scoliosis, and I was in hospital for about 3 weeks with this pins in my back and stuff. But at that time, I think in the top three there was Wheel in West Virginia by Neil Sedaka and A Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It was
how weird is that? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And that's something to lament nowadays, isn't it? Because really, so much of the music just sounds the same.
Well, you said it.
I think that
to a point. I mean, someone still pops up now and then and does something interesting. To be fair,
To be fair, yeah.
I myself, I secretly really like the fact that the music is the way it is now, because people remember us because we came before the time when music switched over to being in everything that you hear. There was music in ads, there's music in films. It was when we started out, there wasn't that much, so that if you did happen to have a hit on the radio, it really stayed in people's minds. And today, people will remember the songs that they knew from the early 80s more than they will songs from the 90s. Yeah. That might have been bigger hits, but because there wasn't much around it. So it's quite good. We're quite fortunate in that way. And so that the music that we listen to, we think is, was the best thing since sliced bread, because it was the music we listen to.
You mentioned music in movies. Well, that's for your story is very important in regards to Live It Up and Crocodile Dundee. What was the story behind that?
I was asked to write a song for some music for Crocodile Dundee, but busy making Mental's album, so I just wrote an instrumental which is used to film it. And then, but just before they put it out, Paul Hogan wanted to put a bit of Live It Up in the background of one of the scenes. Yeah. And they're quite funny, really, because the song had been a hit in Australia, but just earlier than that, the year before, and we'd gone around Europe and America trying to get them to play it, and there was no interest in it. But then the guy in the UK at CBS had the great idea of getting a cover of the poster from the film with Hogs in his Crocodile Dundee outfit, putting it in our single bag, and all of a sudden it became a huge hit. The same people who weren't playing it the year before played it this time, so it was very good for us.
How can you see looking through those tears? Don't you know you're worth your weight in gold? I can't believe that you're alone in here. Let me warm your hands against the cold. A close encounter with a hard-hearted man who never gave back for what he got has made you wish that you'd never been born. That's a shame, 'cause you got a lot.
Back to the childhoods, when did you think that music was going to be a career?
Well, we didn't really have any aspirations of being musicians at all. We were art students. And Reg and I started jamming around, just in our, little crappy little flats up around the cross, and something started happening there. And then the rest of the band sort of, we got a bass player, and finally we started doing these gigs at a little pub called the Unicorn in Paddington. Yeah. And people just started flocking to see us, next thing we're on Countdown, and so it just sort of took off by itself, really.
For me, I can remember that the time I had to make some sort of decision was I was working in a bottle shop, the largest drive-in bottle shop in the southern hemisphere. I used to
Mind
like
you.
to say.
Yeah, it makes a
It
big
wasn't
difference.
just any bottle shop. And we just finished art school, and then Nips became a hit, and we were getting called upon to tour, and they had to make a decision then, and to do something like that. So you actually have to devote full time for a while.
Yeah.
If you get any sort of success, you have to be full time for a while. So after that, it was carried, and it's just that they haven't been able to take the full-time status off us yet. But it's funny, it is important because with music that everybody now sees it as a career path, which is probably a really big mistake.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit too needy with it. You should do it because you like it.
Yeah. All of the good luck that, came our way was always going, cool, you know.
Yeah.
You go into cool,
There was no pressure.
We never
was there?
expected to do anything like that, so anything that happened, we're going, great, sure, why not?
And people say, what's your secret? And they say, well, we don't have no idea.
Yeah.
It's because it wasn't through our invention, it was through people liking what we do, at what we did at the time. And everybody likes something else now, but at the time that we were doing it, people really liked that.
The timing was just perfect.
And who knows why?
Yeah.
We were very unambitious.
But I mean, that's probably the secret to the success, because if you sit down and you think to yourself, you have to write a song, or you have to do this, then it doesn't work if you just let it fly.
you can, the try hard thing sort of sticks out most of the time, I reckon.
But I can see why everybody wants to be in a band and do this, because it is a really fun life.
Yeah.
It is good. We don't say, well, we work really hard. You wait around a lot and you catch lots of flights, but that's nothing. That's just a great chance to improve your Sudoku skills, or to develop a really bad alcohol problem.
That's right.
Apart from it's still a nice lifestyle, ain't it?
It's pretty good.
Too many times. Too many times.
Well, I mean, timing was perfect. But how did you go from a confidence point of view, being, Greedy, you're working at a bottle shop, and, you guys were art students the year before, and all of a sudden you were there on Countdown. How did your colleagues take you? Were they accepting?
When the first time we did Countdown, there was someone sort of mumbled, "Don't give up your day jobs," as we climbed off the set, and that we saw that guy. Not that long ago, we did another ABC thing, and he's still there. So, we were pretty crappy players in those days. We got better as we went along, but we were pretty naive musicians, really.
Yeah.
And but that's when you think about it, most of the great sort of jazz and blues, they made up their own tunings and stuff. A lot of the people I really admire are self-taught. I'm pretty much self-taught, and so I don't. People that have a tutor.
Yeah.
Finish up being a clone of their tutor a lot of the time.
It helps you. It helps It helps for writing music to not know the rules. And it's interesting when we recorded Martin's song. I Didn't Mean to Be Mean with Elvis Costello. He would say that he's a fanatic songwriter. To write a song every day. He said it's really troublesome to get past what you know in music. He said that sometimes you have to organise mistakes or accidents.
Yeah.
And so he'd get parts of songs and he'd just he'd put them over the top of other parts, and and if there was something there that he'd liked, and that became, and he said that's how he created something that was original.
Yeah.
By forcibly making mistakes.
You just hear that one sort of split second and go from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I think.
There's a song I wrote called "Come Around."
Yep.
And it's kind of like a Dada thing. Dada was a sort of a movement.
Nuts.
You'd sort of put a pin into a dictionary and open it up.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I did with the chords on that. I had like all these chords, and I didn't want to go the formal way of, so I had all these chords on little bits of paper, and I pulled them out one by one, and that's the verse of this. That's why it's so kind of out there.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
And trying to get a vocal kind of melody to go around the chords was quite difficult, but I kind of nailed it in the end. The chorus is more conventional, but the verse the verse was kind of done like that.
Weird, man. It's weird. But that's how you amuse yourself if you come from an art school background, because we're quite against the sort of like the pompousness of sort of progressive rock and what is called art rock. We wanted to play fairly simple stuff that was kept the other art students happy.
Yeah.
And so, but that's obviously a way of still indulging the art side of it.